play during that time. That's cool. That's definitely great. All right, let's move on to esports news. Lots to talk about. And why don't we start off with some team news, which reunited a very well-known team that we've been following for quite some time now. And one of the teams that actually played in the first season of Apex is ceasing operations, which that's kind of crazy. We've obviously seen it happen once already in the last few months to another big organization, but this is the second one here. And they were really good about, here's the official announcement. Actually, let me show this. But they were really good about answering questions. They had an AMA, lots of interviews with the players and the owner. Yeah, so let's talk about Reunited. I mean, it had a lot to do with money. It's basically money, not being able to hold out until Blizzard figures out the Overwatch League and how that's going to work with bidding for cities and everything. But thoughts on Reunited? I mean, Jason, I think you've casted a lot of Reunited games over the last year.
Yeah, it's sad to see, to be honest, because it was nice to have like these original organizations like come up in Overwatch, and they even had like a set of Rocket League team and stuff. It's kind of expected though at the same time when you have to have like orgs bid for cities, and there's no way that they have that kind of money, and I don't think they even really picked up that many sponsors, and that all paired with no EU tournaments. God. Like with MLG, that was NA only. Then now you have NGE, which is NA only, and then you have Apex. You're not invited to Apex, and what do you have? It's just kind of
not much.
And you don't have a chance to like prove yourself to sponsors either to build up that money. It sucks, but at the same time, like the team could have actually joined an org way back in the day when they were still Fnatic.
They left Fnatic.
They left,
right?
Yeah.
And they could have joined another org. Like they had tons of offers, even when they were reunited, they didn't take them. So it kind of sucks for them, but
it sucks because the philosophy behind Reunited was pretty cool in that it was meant to be a player-owned organization, which in theory sounds like a really great thing. Everyone was rooting for them. They're born and bred off of Overwatch, so they were kind of the hometown heroes. And Jason, I mean, I remember way back in the closed beta, they were the #1 team in Europe for a while. Arguably, they were the #1 team potentially. I mean, there was a period, okay?
This is how big the period was. Because Melty wrecked them every time in the closed beta.
Anyway, it sucks to see, but I mean, it makes sense. Like, what options did Reunited have? Every other team, and we'll get to this in a little bit, but every other team has a flood of venture capital money, rich billionaire money, and sports investors and sports team owners' money. Like musicians are investing. Like every major esport team now is bankrolled by billion-dollar hedge funds or sports owners or something along those lines. So what options did Reunited have? I thought their end game was probably someone will buy them eventually.
Yeah.
I'm almost surprised that didn't happen. It's a cool brand. Like they had good media, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, what are their options? Either, somehow get some like seed funding. You can't even get just like a small amount of money anymore. Like you're competing against billion-dollar investors. So, ultimately
you're competing.
Sad,
I mean, I think they could have maybe gotten that, but again, there's so many things in question up in the air right now that I think you need a runway that's 6 months, 6 months, 12 months, maybe. I mean, hopefully not 12 months because the league will be established by then, but definitely you need a runway that's 6 months. It didn't sound like they had that kind of runway to wait until it's figured out and then have to go through these, periods of negotiating with other organizations to establish that kind of buyout or whatever it is. But what's the difference between buying the Reunited brand versus just ending up with a roster anyways for whatever organization? Is there a difference, really? I mean,
I assume that, I don't know the financials, but I assume the player-owned aspect meant that they had some sort of equity.
Well, so for them it would, but for somebody that comes in to buy, I mean, there's no...
no difference.
Yeah, there's no reason, right?
The money guys.
Yeah. So maybe actually...
So
what, Jason?
Well, like, if you're going to be an investor like that, $1 billion investor, professional sports teams, you're not going to invest in an org that only has like one game,
I think they were in a couple other games. Yeah, Rocket League, right?
but I mean, you need like a CS team and like a league team
And a Smash player, apparently.
Yeah, and a Smash player. Or like fighting games for Xbox.
I will just interject and say we've got Cruz in chat from Reunited giving a lot of insights right now. So if you're listening to the audio archive, make sure to tune in live, or you can watch the VOD on Twitch, because we're getting words directly from
that's right, one of the owners
right here,
that's
saying
right.
he's actually quite happy about this change and really excited to join a major org. So there you go.
I'm just curious though, did he have equity stake in the team? Because did Too Easy sell his stake to Cruz, or what happened? Because it was a player-owned and made org, but Cruz joined after that that happened. That same thing with like Astralis. Like, I don't actually know how that works.
Yeah, not sure, but the roster is staying together. That's definitely good. I mean, they did have 2 players leave recently.
Winghaven and
Winghaven and
I'm curious why they got rid of Winghaven actually. Well, I'm curious that I'm not curious, because they did the same thing to him in Battlefield. In Battlefield 4, in the first season, they didn't place that well. They kicked him off. They picked up Drunks, who now manages Fnatic's Overwatch team.
Yeah.
And then he came back with the whole Reunited, which was such a cool story. No, Cruz doesn't need to tell us why.
He doesn't need to tell us, right?
But they're 2 new players. That should be interesting. I don't know if it's been announced yet, so I don't want to say it, but it'll be interesting.
Okay, well, moving on, there's a new team that's announced. So we have one team leaving and a new team announced, and this one's a mouthful. So Detroit Renegades 5 Hour Energy Overwatch team. So that's I hope there's going to be some kind of acronym or something for this team, because
how does that work?
Or they dropped the 5 Hour Energy portion of it. I don't know.
For the league, how does that work? I don't know if you're allowed to have a sponsor's name in the name of your team. We had Fnatic Raid Call and like EG Raid Call for League of Legends, but
right.
I don't think Blizzard would allow that if it conflicts with other sponsor they have.
I don't know.
So they'd have to rename again, wouldn't they?
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would rename eventually. But it's an
I don't think you're gonna see 5 Hour Energy like in their clan tag when on the live streams. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be there. But guys, there's something really interesting in this, because
what's that?
Renegades is not the Detroit Renegades. Renegades is just Renegades. Obviously, clearly, they are looking forward to the OWL, the Overwatch League, which has been announced to be location-based, and they're trying to establish themselves with a city already. So, begs a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Hey, is this sanctioned by Blizzard? Is this the beginning? Is this the first team that is officially joined up with a city, or are they just doing this to do it? Are they just doing it to try to establish their brand there and then hope that they can bid for Detroit, whatever, when the bidding does open? But who knows? We may have just witnessed the first OW League team.
Yeah, that's true.
Purchase a spot. We may have. This is purely conjecture. I have no insider info here whatsoever, but that may be what we just witnessed.
But why would they choose, that city? I mean, Jarebko. So the owner. The owner is. He doesn't even play in Detroit, right? I think he plays for the Celtics right now. He's an NBA player. Yeah, Jonas Jarebko. But I think he was drafted by Detroit, so maybe he still has a home in Detroit. Like, I don't even know why they chose Detroit out of all the places, So you could be right, Ben. You could be right. This could be, like you said, the first Overwatch League, at least set up team that's going to be part of that league, or at least is structured to be part of the league. But when we talk about the players, so Mangachu, who's been on the show a few times. Okay, it's not talking about it.
What's weird about it is, I just forgot what I was gonna say. No,
Jason, please.
I literally just forgot what I was
What's
gonna
weird?
say.
It's about the cities, about Detroit,
important.
about 5 Hour Energy, Detroit, Renegades.
Purchasing a spot, league.
No, I got it. Whew, save myself there. Because we asked ourselves, right, when it came to claiming a city for your organization, does that mean the rest of your teams have to be claimed in that place as well? We talked about this a while ago with Envious being Charlotte. So what we see is the other CS team isn't committed to a city either. I mean, obviously have an Australian team, but they're not, I think, living in Detroit. So can teams or can organizations just claim a city for their Overwatch team?
Like just be a squatter.
I mean, that's what it's,
basically.
that's what it seems like. I could look. Actually, I could be wrong, and if anyone knows, please let us know. I have never seen Renegades associated with Detroit before, but I just looked them up on Wikipedia, and it says that their location is Detroit, Michigan, and that they also are known as the Detroit Renegades. So maybe the whole team is associated with the location. I actually, I'm unaware. My assumption was that no, it was just the Overwatch team, but.
Yeah.
Like their CS team isn't called the Detroit Renegades 5 Hour Energy
no,
Doritos Monster team. But they're also in Australia. They live in Australia. I don't know if they still live in Australia or if they actually do finally or have finally moved back to the States since they were there for a while. But I thought they lived in Vegas though. Like the old CS team always lived in Vegas when they were there in a hotel because that's who they were sponsored by.
Anyway, a lot of
we're gonna have to figure it out. Yeah, but let's talk about the players. Let's talk about the players. Mangachu, Jesus, Juvenile Jur, Scarlaki, and I guess Man of Snow. Yeah, should be interesting to see. I think they've been playing already, right? In some of the events, I believe. Maybe one event.
NGE.
Yeah, they've been playing.
They play NGE, right? Yeah, exactly.
Wrecking face.
Exactly. They've been playing well.
So well.
Yeah.
I feel like Jesus is like everyone's new favorite player. Kind of nuts.
Jesus in that video. You gotta watch that announcement video, guys. It's pretty good. I'll link it here in chat. But yeah, definitely check it out. And a new team to root for. It's gonna be pretty cool. Definitely great. But moving on right now, here's the link, by the way. Another NBA team is buying stakes in an Overwatch team. And the Overwatch team in this case is Misfits, and the team is the Miami Heat. So actually, it's pretty close to where I am. Not too far, actually. And that's pretty big, too. The Miami Heat, obviously a big brand in the NBA. They definitely have a solid NBA team and had championships in the past. And Misfits, one of the best teams. Maybe not quite yet, but we've all projected that this team is going to be one of the best teams in the coming months. So, thoughts?
That has to confirm they're going to Korea, doesn't it?
Why?
You were always like trying to guess who's going to Apex now. Why? Why does that have anything to do with? Why does Miami buying anything have anything to do with Apex?
Oh yeah, this is the org, not the Overwatch team. Never mind.
Yeah.
What?
Anyways.
Yeah.
Keep that money flowing.
Yeah.
Esports is balling right now. It's so hot. It's actually just ridiculous. Somebody that's been doing this for like 8 years. Like I remember when there was zero money, and then I remember when it was blowing up, and I thought it was gonna stop like exploding at the rate it was. And in some ways it has, but in other ways, like the amount of money pouring into Overwatch or into esports in general is just absolutely mind-numbing.
It's just a start. I mean, we're literally going to see more and more sports organizations coming in, and dude, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year we've got a third or half of the NBA franchises having some kind of esports presence, whether it's Overwatch or not. But yeah, I'm hearing about people in esports being hired as director of esports for some of these teams too. So
can't wait to see the Lakers play up against give me the pass for the Heat.
The Heat
in the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League. It'd be awesome watching Golden State play Cleveland. Is Dan Gilbert going to buy a team anytime soon? That'd be pretty fun to see. Okay, well, anyways, that's another big news. And a couple player news here. We've got Too Easy departs FaZe. He tweeted today, actually, I believe, and that's kind of surprising. You guys know about this?
Jason, I'm sure Jason knows all the drama.
Yeah.
Jason's like a monster. He's always in our meetings before the show. He's like, "Oh, I know about this, but I can't."
He's like, "I don't know if I can say stuff about this." It's like, dude, shut up, man. It's like,
yeah, actually, Blizzard told me something about the league. I just don't know if I can. Say it,
exactly.
I don't know crap about the league.
I have a coworker whose meme every time something big is announced, he always tweets, "Finally, we can talk about this now." Woof. Because that's what every like insider does.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So Too Easy. Moving on. That's
a lot of conflict within the team.
Okay. It seems to be
the most
always
likely
the
thing.
reason for
Yeah.
most of these surprising.
But I can tell
departures.
you, he does have a lot of offers already. So
Good.
we'll be seeing him back really soon.
He should. Guy's a god tier play. Like, I still think Too Easy is one of the rarest talents. I mean, top 5, top 10 DPS in the world, honestly. But man, is this a recurring trend to just see players come and go, come and go, come and go? It makes sense. There's really no structure, no reason to stick together as a team. But yeah, every team seems to be having issues. And one thing I want to call out, team owners, if you're listening to this, you should stop forcing your players to change their Twitter handles every time, because it's just going to get changed again in 6 months. I feel bad for whoever the rep is at Twitter that has to change these esports names like left and right every freaking 2 months. Like, it's silly.
Well, at least they're able to do that in a very regular fashion, because it would suck if they couldn't, and they're still got like FaZe in front of Too Easy for the next month or so. There's one thing we were talking about, Ben, before the show is just the free agency pool right now is insane for Overwatch. It would be so cool to see a list compiled of all the free agents right now. And then just how many crazy good teams that we could build in our fantasy Overwatch,
I think there
rosters. Is there? I think
on Wikipedia Overwatch, I think there is.
Okay.
Or like should be.
Yeah, link me that when you get a chance. But yeah, Too Easy. Another player that we've got here is Skipjax, just leaving Rogue, and he what he says here is that he's just trying to I guess allow the team to make an all French speaking lineup. So I guess that was a motivation there. We pointed that out, right? Skipjax was the only guy that wasn't French on the team, but he was learning French, I think, at the time is what we were hearing. But now it seems like I guess they want to move in that direction, just to have an all French team, or at least an all French speaking team. They didn't say French, so that's that's too bad for Skipjack. Is that that's a really good team too, Rogue, and he's going to be moving on, going to be added to that list of free agents. It's be pretty crazy. What do you guys think of this?
He's already trialing for a new team.
We never even saw them play. I mean,
yeah,
basically.
Well, no, we did. We saw them play in Korea, right?
This iteration of Rogue? Oh yeah,
Gyeonggi, I am Gyeonggi, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't get to see play much. We didn't get to see him play much, one tournament. Yeah. So we'll see where Skipjax ends up here too. But good luck to him.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool that there's going to be an all French team and an all Swedish team, and even if OW League takes a couple of years to go global, I think it's going to be really, really sweet to have like these teams like the Paris Misfits. The Paris Rogue, right?
Okay,
that would be sick.
But dope. That's a years in advance though. Like, we were, one thing that Jason brought up a little bit is just like EU Overwatch is like dying right now, I feel like. And it's so weird to say that because we're usually used to saying NA whatever is dying, in esports, and in EU is normally not an issue. So to say that in Overwatch is a very odd thing. And of course, a lot of this has to do with the Overwatch League being NA only in the first season. So I hope that doesn't, I hope it doesn't totally wreck things in EU and then they have to start over again when they want to expand out to EU. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be too bad, but it'd be nice to have something going on in EU when that happens. So it's more of a natural expansion into that, because like that Paris team or whatever you're talking about, Ben, that's not going to happen for at least a year. So that French team will probably be living in the US. I'm imagining in the very near future. So
it's the state of Overwatch esports in Europe is like really, really weird right now. Like actually the state of the whole esports space for the game is so strange. But there's been nothing to play for, and all of the teams are moving to NA. Like all of them. They all are coming here. Like Rogue, like I don't know where Misfits is at. But LG's moved here. Like there's no teams left in Europe. There's like NIP and
they have to. I mean,
NIP. Who else? Who else is actually in Europe right now?
Don't put me on the spot like this, man.
What? You're supposed to
I'm
know,
looking
like,
at you.
easy. You're supposed to know, like, off the...
Readers.
Oh yeah, Dignitas.
Oh yeah, Dignitas.
Oh,
American chat
Dignitas,
says.
of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of
Who
course,
we haven't heard a peep out of Dignitas, by the way, in like months.
Since the big partnership or whatever, or buyout or whatever. Yeah, so anyways, EU, there is a tournament that's going to be going on soon. That's a 5K Euro tournament, Glory Gamers. Just want to plug that it's an open tournament too. So any European teams that want to go try out for that or play in that, go ahead and check it out. Got to give some love to these EU tournaments, man. Get something going on there. So I linked that there. Apex, you wanted to say something about Apex, Jason? You want to speculate again as to what teams are going to be at Apex? Oh my
I'm just
God.
trying to think.
Oh
I'm
my
trying to think
God.
I'm trying to think what was like announced. I thought some teams have already said they're not going. Let's just move past that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go on to Q&A here in a second. But before that, I want to give a shout out to all the folks that left 5-star reviews and really nice words on iTunes for us. Again, that helps us, or it helps the show a lot to be found on iTunes when people type in Overwatch looking for podcasts. So Mushu Beef, Time711, Dr. Katz, Blacho23, and JP Sellen, thanks so much for leaving those reviews. And anybody else that listens to this podcast, please go and leave us a nice review. It really helps out. Again, we got a ton of them this week, so something happened, and it's really, really great. Even got tweets of folks that are listening to our podcast. So thank you very much, for that, and keep doing it. I mean, it's definitely awesome. Okay, so Q&A. So we got a lot of questions sent through email, and if you guys want to participate in this portion of the show, go ahead and email your questions to theoverview@chanmanv.tv, and we will read them out just each and every week. But we've got one from Furion, and he asks, what advice, suggestion, or recommendations can you give to someone who can't play a lot of competitive games daily, but wants to climb ladder? How can I ensure I get the most out of games that I play, since I can only really play 2 or 3 comp games every day?
So many Reddit posts about this, so many YouTube videos. I've actually been putting a lot of thought into it as I've been doing my best to improve on my own. I feel like you could go on and on about this for like 30 minutes, an hour. There's so many little things that are not even necessarily within the game that I think everyone needs to be doing, no matter what level of skill you're at. You need to be warming up before you play for 5 to 15 minutes at least. You need to go in with the right mindset. You need to have, you can't be starving. Have some calories in your body. Don't go in sleep deprived. Have some water. All these things matter hugely. If you go on a losing streak, stop playing. If you
don't tell me what to do. I'll queue as much as I want.
That's right.
God.
Then you go in game. I think the most important things in game are not even like skill based or like positioning or strategy. Like I think being a good and open communicator with your team and knowing how to deal with somebody that's not going to switch off Hanzo. Don't just brood about it and get salty. Like adjust, like react, try and do the best you can with the teammates you have and whatever their stupid picks are. Like these things matter, I think, more than we can't train you in 30 minutes, but like these little things I think matter more than any like piece of in-game advice I could give you. Also, call targets. When you're killing somebody, tell your team that you're killing them. For the love of God, this is like the number one thing that irks me about my SR right now is that people don't call targets enough, and like we all just are shooting different people, and it's really dumb. So there you go.
Okay.
I don't know. Those are my like.
Those are good. Those are great.
Don't be like that guy in ChanManV's games that calls whatever you're doing.
Oh my God. Holy crap. That's the one time I like my son's like, why did you leave the channel, Dad? I'm like, because that guy was literally telling me everything he was doing as Symmetra. I'm putting 1 sentry turret down. I'm putting 2 sentry turrets down. I'm running in the back now, guys. I'm getting a health pack. Like literally, this guy was doing that. Don't do that. Yeah, definitely don't do that. Okay, let's see. Next up, Benji. I was originally going to ask how you thought Reaper was in the current meta, but with the PTR changes on the horizon, I'm more interested in the direction of the new meta. Personally, I feel that this will be the hyper offense DPS meta, and I'm very excited about that. Well, you mentioned Reaper earlier, Ben. So you think Reaper is going to be part of the regular DPS lineup?
I think so. But I mean, to just address his general question, I think 222, from what I've heard, it's only been a couple of days of scrims, 2 or 3 days, but a lot of the top teams have been scrimming for hours and hours in PTR. From what I've heard so far, it seems like 222 is coming back. Have you heard the same, Jason?
Cool. From my experience, no. What I heard, I didn't hear 222 at all. But like I'm seeing you and a lot of people in chat talk about it. I heard it's still pretty much the same meta over here in Europe on the PTR, which is really odd. I don't think we're gonna see Zarya Reaper that much, though, to be honest.
Like the resurgence of Zarya, right? No.
Yeah. I mean, Zarya is gonna be even more stronger now. I think we're gonna see a lot more Tracer and potentially a lot more Genji. Like with the hook change coming in, it should be a lot harder to kill a Tracer who's playing well. And we've already seen people like Soon playing her to such a high level, even in the current patch, the current meta right now, and the current state of the game. I think we're gonna see a lot more of her.
All right, gonna see a lot more epic Tracers. There's probably a lot of people dying.
I feel like you're not telling me something with the Reaper thing. I feel like you're being told by some players like, yeah, we're playing Reaper a ton now.
No, I haven't. In solo queue though, or queuing up in ranked though, a Reaper, man, you forget how powerful he is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Beyblade again, right? Yeah.
Don't forget, he could kill a Roadhog in like 2 headshots, basically.
It's true.
Not like, yeah. So I'm excited to see more Tracer Genji. I think Pharah is going to be slightly more viable, but not really changed much, honestly. I do think we're going to see a bit more Reaper. I just want dive comps to come back, because dive comps to me have been some of the most exciting Overwatch that you can have.
Yeah, I agree. Just more diversity. That's all even if it's just like 1 or 2 maps where dive comps are popular, at least giving it an option. Not, man, triple tank. I mean, always see, every time I watch streams now, I'm watching Mendo stream or whoever's stream, it's like 4 tank, 2 support. Like literally every single game is just 4 tank, 2 support. It's like, oh man, I'm just tired.
I'd rather have that than a Hanzo Widow on my team. That Insta-lock could only play those 2 heroes. Like
Hanzo, okay, all right. I mean, definitely not Widow.
When he was 3.1 last season, playing at 4K.
Okay, sure.
Not that one.
All right, sure. Okay,
the
Luke.
One thing that worries me, I guess, but the one concern I have is that 76 will just still continue to be by far the best DPS, because now like one of his counters was a diva in his face. Now she does less damage and she's less survivable. So I'm slightly worried about 76, but you can use a dive comp to unroot 76 with Winstons and Genjis and things like that. So
sure.
I remember playing one game in Nambani where I was playing Ana and I had a soldier next to me on defense on the first point, and we got dove by a diva Genji, and it was just there's literally nothing we can do. Literally nothing we can do that combo. There's just, you can't heal it, you can't survive it, you can't sleep them. Nothing you could do.
Wow, that's brutal. Okay, Luke B. How in any way is changing team colors in between maps beneficial to spectators during an event? I think changing color sucks. I mean, you get to used to one team being red, and then some cases being invested in them in red. Oh, I see. I'm like having trouble reading this. For 40 minutes, then they just become blue. Screws up the kill feed for viewers. Sucks for newcomers and who don't know player names. What traditional esports switch jerseys to go on attack? Okay, so basically, why are they switching colors every time they swap rules? It's a good point. I still have some issues with the coloring of the names and everything in the game. I feel like they don't think it's an issue though, because they haven't changed it, and it's something that we've talked about. I mean, even like a year ago. But what do you guys think, just generally speaking, with swapping the colors and just the colors generally?
I mean, I look at other games, and like Counter-Strike, you always swap colors. League of Legends, you swap colors because you swap sides. Overwatch, you don't swap colors within the map. When it used to be red was always attacking, blue was always defending. I don't know. Like, I don't think you need to keep people certain colors throughout an entire series, to be honest. I feel like most people adapt quickly to it.
Well,
this only bothered me like for 2 days after they made the change, and then okay, we're fine.
Well, I guess get what he's trying to say. Better question is there any reason to swap the colors? Like, is there really any reason to do that? I mean, do we think
show which team is on attack versus which is on defense?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there you go. Okay.
I can
signifies
well, I can understand
roles.
what he means. It's like, I don't know. I would like it to be back to the old way of you're attacking your red and you're defending your blue. Because when you attack first, you're red, but then you're defending as red. But then you go into the second map, you could be defending first. Now you're blue the whole time in that map. If that's the direction she's going with it, it is really frustrating. There needs to be consistency, I think, in terms of like what color you get kind of assigned to. I don't know. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just so within a map, you have the colors consistent, but.
No.
Is that what you mean?
It's so in a map the colors are consistent. You're always blue. You're always red. But then you move on to the second map, and you could be the other color.
Sure. Yeah. It just depends on the first game.
It can be a little bit odd.
It depends on the first game, right? Of each map, it determines what color you are for that entire map.
Yeah, like you're blue the whole time on the first map, then you're red the entirety of the second map. I can understand. I don't think it's a necessity, but
yeah,
I don't know that many people who are bothered by it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people get used to it. I think it is a minor thing, but there's not a. I mean, you're gonna have an issue with people trying to figure out, who's on offense and defense too, because that matters a lot too. Like it's not clear sometimes, especially when they're like you just jump onto a stream and you're watching it and you're like they're like team fighting. You have no idea like what roles they are. So there's good and bad things to both. What do you guys still think about the colors? Do you still like the red names? And I mean, the blue's okay, but the red, I still have an issue with the red names.
It doesn't encode well.
Well, yeah.
Online video doesn't do well with red. I still don't understand this. It's been explained to me like 15 times, and I'm like, I don't understand why a color wouldn't encode well, but it's a thing.
Yeah, it's hard to read, and I still like the white names with the colored health bars. Just like what they do in League of Legends. I'd like to see them try it in Overwatch one time to see if that would work, but I don't know. They obviously don't think it's a problem, so whatever. Okay, Josh B. As we see more and more money to team infrastructure and coaches, what is the viability of having a game shot caller coach similar to CSGO? So
what is the viability? I feel like it's going to become a necessity at a certain point.
Yeah.
A shot caller, though? Or do you mean coach? I think there's a big difference between the two when it comes to viability.
If you were a shot,
seventh man as a shot caller,
a shot caller would basically be in a spectator mode, right, and be able to traverse the entire game. And well, you can't. Well, how do you even do that? Like, how do you even do that? Okay, so you can only see.
You can currently do it at the moment, where you can only see first persons of your players. But I don't know, in-game caller, like it's. What, like CS, you can't talk while the game's going. You can only do it during breaks or pauses that you have, or timeouts, sorry. In League, you can only do it between maps.
That's coaches.
I think. I don't know if they could actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not shot callers, I guess. They're coaches, right? Yeah.
We used to, in CS, you used to have an in-game, or your shot caller be the sixth man in CS or seventh man in Overwatch.
And then they disallowed it. They disallowed it, right, at one point.
I wonder what Blizzard's takes on it's going to be. I think coaches are going to be huge, but in-game callers, I don't know. Because you don't really have the necessarily same feel of the game when you're like watching versus playing.
Yeah. I was it Blizzard? It might have been just Valve, but I thought I think most of the consensus, or a lot of the consensus, is that they want the players to be the ones calling the shots. They don't want an additional roster or just additional person part of the team that's basically spectating and calling shots. They want the players to actually do that. So I wouldn't be surprised they don't go to that. Coaches for sure, like you said, that's going to be immediate. I think every team will have a coach right off the bat. Okay, let's see. Next one, Trey W. Actually, Captain OCD, thanks for the question. We talked about Sombra already. He basically asked what kind of changes would you like to see from Sombra. So we talked about it during the PTR changes. But Trey W, I really enjoy the show and insight you guys bring to the show. My question is about IDDQD and his future team. Now that Misfits is all Swedish and IDDQD is Swedish, how likely is it that they will follow suit with Lunatic High and add them to the roster?
Are you saying IDDQD is Korean?
No, like Lunatic High added, an extra 2 players to the roster, right? To be more. Yeah.
I was so confused.
No.
Are you
like
making some joke that he's too skilled to not be Korean or something? Okay.
What?
Whoa,
What?
never mind.
Okay.
Just keep it rolling.
I don't think he'll be joining now. There was a
I
lot
feel
of
like
personal
his
gripes.
ego is too big for that. Like, he's too good, and his ego is too good. I don't know.
Wow.
He needs to be the star of a team, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I think so too. No telling if even any of the other teams are going to adopt this, 6+ roster. Anyways, with the additional players, but that would be interesting. But like you said, I think he does need to be the star. It'd be pretty tough. Okay. Anyways, I think that's it for the questions. Thanks everybody for the emails. Keep them coming because we'll be happy to answer any of the questions that you guys got. But that's going to be it, guys. We're going to wrap things up. Good show. Solid hour and a half, guys. Good stuff. Jason, you want to do some shout outs?
Same ones I do every week. Parents for letting me do what I do.
Yeah.
Yusuf let me focus on Overwatch. You two for doing the show and putting up with me every week. Big shout out to all the jerks out there who want to instalock Hanzo or instalock Symmetra or instalock anything that's completely useless right now. And
Symmetra,
thinking it works, and then have
Symmetra's
it not
fine.
work, and then blame us for it not working. Shout out to you.
Okay. Shout out to them.
Tiniest bit salty.
Exactly.
Tiniest littlest bit.
I'm actually drinking salt water right now. Normal water.
Fishstix, shout outs.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in. I often give a shout out to the competitive Overwatch subreddit, but I will do so this week in the context that the Reunited guys actually did an AMA over there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a place to learn about the news and discuss high-level gameplay and watch videos and all that shit, but people are using it as a venue to really have community-related discussions. So I think that's a pretty good reason for you to go check it out if you haven't already. It's good times. You should check it out. Thanks to everyone who watches my stream. I streamed a little bit last night. I streamed a little bit last week. I'm actually trying to stream more than once a week. So you can follow me here on Twitch on my quest to hit Grandmaster. We're getting closer and closer. And yeah.
Before you have a lost streak tonight.
Hey.
God, Jason, you're spread like a cancer, dude. Just stop, dude. It's fine. It's fine. You're gonna be fine.
If I was playing with you, then yeah. we would go on another horrible loss streak like the one we went on right before Christmas.
Oh, you guys played together? I didn't remember that.
Yeah, we played together for 2 or 3 days straight, and we both lost 200 SR.
Not my
it's
fault.
terrible.
You get speed boost with the Lucio correctly. No, I'm just kidding.
Were you playing Hanzo, Ben, or?
Yeah, he's the guy I was talking about. He was the Hanzo player.
Right. I'll round things out. Thank the two of you guys, obviously, for doing the show. Everybody for watching. Everybody, again, for writing in and leaving reviews and everything. Awesome. It's just, I don't know, it just feels good to see that a lot of folks are not only listening to the show, watching the show, but they show us they are. There's something about that. When you take a picture of, we had a tweet where the guy's in his car and it shows just the overview, on his LCD, on his radio or whatever. It's neat. Makes us feel good doing the show, too. You can find the VODs for all the shows, including this one, a little bit later, youtube.com/ChanManV. I finally got my new setup going, this past weekend. I've been, really lazy about doing it, so I finally got a chance to do it. So I might stream some of my Overwatch with the kids. So if you're not as high level as these guys and want to see, kind of father-son action. Man. Oh, man. Am I going to put myself through that? Maybe. Maybe.
Cast it.
You cast it, God.
Yeah,
oh my God, my son would love that. He's He's just off the wall. Like the last time we 1v1, he like beat me, and he was just so happy. I was like, oh my god, be a good father. Be a good father.
Just say you let him win, you know? Sort of be a good dad.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I might stream some of that too. Twitch.tv/ChanManV. Actually, this stream I might talk about this. So yeah, so check that out. If not, I also do a bunch of Hearthstone stuff. Show that I do tomorrow that's called Value Town, as well as I stream some Hearthstone too. So if you like that, tune in for that. Otherwise, find the show here and on iTunes. Also, you'll find the show in the feed tomorrow, probably early morning tomorrow. So catch that. Let folks know. And that's gonna be it for the overview for this week's. For Jason Kaplan, Fishstix, and myself, ChanManV. We'll see you next week.